Los Angeles, the city of glamour, of stars, and where all secrets can be exposed in just one night. And that night, the fragile silence between Tony McGill, Sam Heughan, and Caitriona Balfe was officially broken. At the Golden Screen Awards after-party, among hundreds of famous guests, Tony and Sam, two men who should never have met, stood face to face. Tense, cold, and the air was so thick it seemed like it was about to explode. Caitriona walked into the hall, in a pure white silk dress. Her elegant appearance made everyone turn to look. But for Tony, it was no longer pride. It was obsession. He stood silently in the distance, watching her smile with Sam Heughan, her co-star who had been with her for nearly a decade in Outlander. Their smiles, so natural and intimate, made Tony's heart clench. A reporter accidentally captured that moment. Sam placed his hand on Caitriona's back, both of them looking at each other with understanding eyes. The photo went viral in just a few minutes, and Tony, despite trying to avoid everything, still saw it. The glass of wine in his hand shook, a few drops of crimson fell on his white sleeve. Caitriona had loved Tony with all her trust, but years and irreparable cracks had driven them apart. He was jealous, she was tired. He was suspicious, she chose silence. When they officially separated, Tony thought time would help him forget. But then, every time he turned on the TV and saw Caitriona with Sam, in scenes filled with emotion, he couldn't shake that obsession. Sam was always the name that kept Tony awake at night. Not only because he was his ex-wife's co-star, but because Sam had something that Tony could never have: Caitriona's absolute trust. The party that night was held in a luxurious hotel in Beverly Hills. Sam Heughan had just won the award for Best Actor, and Caitriona was the one presenting the trophy. They hugged on stage, their smiles making the audience explode. Tony sat in the back row, his eyes darkening. He was not officially invited, only appeared at the invitation of an acquaintance producer, who had no idea that he was the X in this complicated story. When Caitriona and Sam stepped off the stage, Tony stood up and approached. His voice was low, soft but full of pressure. "You are so good, Sam. Acting so well that the whole world believed it was real love." Sam raised his eyebrows slightly, his eyes calm but cold, maybe because that feeling came from the truth. "At least between us, there was nothing fake." The atmosphere instantly froze. Caitriona noticed in time, stepped in between the two. "Stop it, Tony. This isn't the place for this." Tony looked at her, his eyes red. "Why, Kate? Because you're afraid people will know you never really let him go?" Everything happened so fast. A few reporters had filmed the tense conversation. In the clip, Tony approached. Sam remained calm but her body tensed as if ready to react. "Do you know how she cried when you left silently?" Sam said, her voice choked. "You don't deserve her." "What about you?" Tony said, biting his lip. "Do you think because of a few scenes you understand her better than me? You're just living in your own role." Caitriona stood between them, her hands shaking. "Enough. I won't let you two use me as an excuse to fight each other." But it was too late. A slight push, the wine glass shattered. The sound of a gunshot rang out in the auditorium. Security personnel immediately rushed over. The guests were in an uproar. Everyone knew Hollywood was about to have a new earthquake. The next morning, every newspaper published pictures of Tony and Sam. Sensational headlines were everywhere. Tony McGill and Sam Heughan clash over Caitriona Balfe, the rivalry that rocked Hollywood. Sam's representative spoke up. Sam was just trying to protect his friend from a tense situation. He didn't initiate the fight. Meanwhile, Tony refused to comment, only writing on his personal page. "I acted like a crazy person, but that's the reaction of someone who has lost everything." Caitriona, on the other hand, kept silent, but her silence made the media even more curious. A few days later, a close source revealed, Caitriona and Sam really had a special relationship, not love, but so intimate that, It's hard to distinguish the line between you and something more. Tony read the article, feeling both pain and relief. Perhaps, he finally understood, he couldn't compete with a connection that didn't come from passion, but from empathy. They were co-stars, artistic soulmates, something he, no matter how much he loved them, couldn't interfere with. A week after the incident, Caitriona took the initiative to meet Tony at a small cafe near the Santa Monica beach. She arrived in casual clothes, her hair tied back, her face tired but determined. Tony looked at her and said softly, "I'm sorry. I went too far." Caitriona sat down, her voice as light as the wind. "I didn't just go too far, Tony. I made a joke of everything we had." He bowed his head, not making excuses. "I just want you to know. I still love you, but that love is no longer salvation," she replied. "You have to learn to let it be. Sam is not the reason you lost me. You are the one who pushed me away." Those words made Tony collapse. He looked out at the sea, where the waves crashed against the shore, fierce but helpless. "What about Sam?" he asked softly. She smiled sadly. "Sam is my friend, the one who understands me better than anyone. But he can't replace you. It's just that, between you and me, everything is too late." Meanwhile, Sam Heughan remained silent in front of the media. When asked about the incident, he only said one sentence. "No one should turn love into a weapon to use against others. I respect Tony, and I respect Caitriona too." But everyone in the industry understood, Sam had never hidden his special concern for Caitriona. He was the one who called to check on her every time she had problems, the one who stood behind the scenes waiting for her to finish the most difficult scene. Caitriona knew that, and perhaps, it was that silence that tormented her the most. A month after the incident, Tony announced his retirement from the entertainment industry and moved back to Scotland. He wrote in his public diary, "I once loved a woman so much that I forgot myself. Now, I choose to love life in a different way, more quietly and peacefully." Thousands of fans posted words of encouragement under the post. Despite the loss of control, they still saw Tony's clumsy sincerity. Caitriona read the post on a lightly rainy morning. She did not comment, just lit a small candle on her desk, her own way of saying goodbye. The incident between Tony and Sam gradually died down, but its echoes still made Hollywood whisper. Many people thought it was a story of two men in love with the same woman. But deeper down, it was a story of hurt, jealousy, and acceptance. Sam continued his brilliant career, Caitriona returned to the film set, and Tony, who had been torn between love and loss, finally found peace. A year later, when asked about that fateful night, Caitriona just smiled. "Both of those men taught me one thing. True love doesn't need to be fought for. It just needs to be understood." And so, in the noisy world of Hollywood, those three people each went their separate ways, no longer attached, but still existing in each other's lives as unforgettable memories. Tony McGill, who had stood in the darkness because of love, finally found the light by letting go.